Good afternoon and welcome to New York in UN Week. It's great to have you all here. It's an honor to have you all here. Welcome to the headquarters of the largest public library system in America and the most used public research library on the planet. All the more fitting, and we are all the more grateful to the State Department for having chosen this great institution to join you as the host for this important discussion of the unfolding opportunities and challenges of artificial intelligence. Libraries throughout the world, and certainly this one, have long played a key role in providing access to information. We believe that the citizens of New York and the citizens of the world do better, learn better, solve problems better, understand themselves and each other better when they have access to all the quality information that the history of humanity has stored in this and other similar institutions. That means not just junk information. It means quality information, true information, trustworthy information. And I will just say as a plug for your conversations, just as we believe that individuals, our students, our children, do better when they have access to that quality information, understand it as such, and prioritize it as such, we also understand and believe strongly that artificial intelligence will be vastly improved and serve humanity better if it is based on ingesting that quality corpus, not just millions of tweets. So I just want to be clear about that. That's our view. We believe as a library, as the largest of libraries, that public good must be maintained in the digital era. We're proud to be working with colleagues. I see Alondra Nelson here from the Institute for Advanced Studies and James Wanyika from Google, so many of you that we've worked with on these projects over the years. Now we come together to talk about that in the era of artificial intelligence. We know that means, as always, that we need to have a variety of voices and perspectives in this vital conversation, and so we are so looking forward to this meeting with its co-conveners, Japan, Kenya, Singapore, Spain, the United Kingdom, and of course the United States. Morocco is also a co-convener, but we wanted, on behalf of all of us in the room, to send our heartfelt wishes to the people of Morocco as they recover and rebuild. Again, this is such an important topic at such an important moment. We are in the right place together. We look forward to this conversation, and we're honored to have it here at the New York Public Library. Welcome.
Please welcome the Deputy Minister of Kenya, Dr. Korir Sing'oei.
So I extend my gratitude to all the distinguished leaders in this room. I've seen His Excellency James Cleverly, as well as co-conveners from the United States, Japan, Singapore, and the kingdoms of Spain and Morocco for coming together for this crucial gathering. Today we find ourselves at a pivotal juncture in human history. The rapid ascent of generative artificial intelligence offers us an unparalleled opportunity to confront the most urgent issues confronting our global society and our precious planet. It signifies a technological revolution with the potential to reshape our world and usher in unprecedented progress. As we assemble here today, it is imperative to acknowledge the profound and intricate challenge our world confronts. Climate change threatens the very fabric of our environment. Global health crisis tests our resilience. Inequalities persist, and our societies grapple with issues transcending borders. In the face of these formidable challenges, we stand at a crossroads where technology, particularly AI, can serve as a beacon of hope. AI is not just a tool, my friends. It is a transformative force that permeates every facet of our lives. It drives breakthroughs in healthcare, enabling us to predict and prevent diseases, tailor treatments, and streamline medical services. In agriculture, AI optimizes food production, reduces wastes, and ensures no one goes hungry. In education, it revolutionizes learning, making it more accessible and tailored to individual needs. In our urban centers, AI has the potential to enhance public transportation, alleviate traffic congestion, and enhance energy efficiency. However, we must not merely admire AI's potential. We must harness this remarkable power to address society's greatest challenges, leaving no one behind and advancing the Sustainable Development Goals set forth by the United Nations. As we do so, we must ensure its safety, security, inclusivity, and build public trust. To achieve this, we hope the companies and countries will build upon the voluntary commitments we have collectively crafted with the Biden-Harris administration and leading global corporations in the field of AI. These commitments encompass responsible development, inclusivity, global cooperation, sustainability, and public goods. Today's gathering serves as a testament to our shared dedication to these principles. It provides a platform for dialogue, collaboration, and the exchange of knowledge. Our aim is to identify the opportunities and challenges presented by AI in addressing society's greatest issues and advancing SDGs. Gentlemen and ladies, allow me to offer a few suggestions for Kenya's role in fostering an inclusive AI-driven future. Number one, we hope that this gathering will result in a multi-stakeholder collaboration on AI to enhance capacity and capability for utilizing AI to tackle our most significant challenges, particularly in developing nations. Secondly, initiate a truly inclusive and multilateral consultation and cooperation mechanism to nurture ongoing dialogue, knowledge exchange, and other joint endeavors centered on the role of AI in achieving the SDGs. These mechanisms should develop a repository of best practices, case studies, and ongoing initiatives in successful AI-driven projects, facilitating learning and knowledge sharing to enable the replication of successful models in diverse contexts. And lastly, design an all-inclusive AI capacity and investment program. Advocate for the establishment of an extensive capacity-building program supported by strategic investment. This initiative can aim to enhance AI literacy, assist developing countries in crafting responsive AI policies, deepen responsible and inclusive AI practices, and provide resources to expand research capabilities. Friends, again, we are at a historic juncture, and the outcomes of this gathering will not only shape our understanding of AI's potential, but also guide our actions in years to come. Let us seize this opportunity for the benefit of current and future generations, and let us collaborate to harness AI as a powerful force to address society's greatest challenges today and in the future. Thank you very much.
Please welcome the Foreign Minister of Singapore, Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm fresh off the plane from Singapore. If you haven't realized, it means it takes you about 19 hours non-stop. So if I sound a bit like like I'm afflicted with AI delusions, you know why. Singapore's a tiny city-state. Our GDP is our trade volume is 3 times our GDP. And we only derive global significance by being a critical node in a global network. Of course, trade, I've mentioned the flow of goods and products, but equally, if I ask you now to Google submarine cables in Asia, and just look at how many radiate into or out from Singapore. So I say this so that you understand that my views are quite naturally biased. But I am in favor of openness, in favor of connectivity, and later on I want to emphasize the role of regulation and in particular trust. But let me first start off with the Singapore government's attitude to AI. The pace of transformation in the last decade is astounding. I think since this is UNGA week, it's worth emphasizing that have you all noticed the quality of translations improved significantly within the last decade? To some extent, it's because the UN insists on publishing multilingual authoritative versions, and the combination of deep learning, machine learning, against this corpus of curated, high-quality data enable pattern recognition, and therefore machine learning and translation and computer systems which could read, see, classify, translate, and we've all witnessed that within the last decade. We're now currently, the latest craze is large language models and generative AI, but even as we speak, I think this is about to be replaced by what I would consider to be the next level in which AI agents have transactional ability, which means to take instructions, to interact with other humans, organizations, and even other AI agents, to get into financial transactions, to make contracts. This may sound like pie in the sky, but I think we are on the verge of going beyond generative AI into transactional AI. Now, before I run ahead of myself, come back to Singapore. So our attitude is that this is a big deal. This is transforming the means of production in the world. And for a little place like Singapore to be relevant, we better get on this bandwagon. So the first point is that we believe in learning by doing. In other words, we have to actually practice, because we are not going to invent the large language models. We can't compete with Silicon Valley, but we can be a vital node which Silicon Valley needs, even as it spreads its web across the world. So let me cite you a few examples where we're actually using AI for real in Singapore. First, in the Singapore civil service today, we are using large language models, but because of security concerns, the prompts are within well, I'm not supposed to advertise, right? But the prompts are within a cloud run by a large, big tech American company. So that you don't know what I'm searching, so that you don't know what I'm about to say. I mean, the point here is that security is a concern, but I can tell you, certainly from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the briefs that I receive before I make a visit, even the speech prompts are run through large language models. And the answer and the question is, why ever should I not use it? After all, to me, this is just a word processor of the future. Then the next point is we had to deal with this question of whether if you used a prompt or even a speech generated by a large language model, is this plagiarism? We first thought that we should make our civil servants indicate that this has been generated by a large language model. In fact, we've now gone further to say no, because we want you to take responsibility for it, the veracity of it. And if it's hallucinating or it's illusionary, you are at fault. So we say I'll assume that you've used it. You don't need to attribute it, but you take responsibility for it. So that's just one example where we use large language models to generate briefs and speeches. Another example, I used to be an eye surgeon. In the eye center for years, we've been using retinal photographs to predict systemic diseases because it just so happens the eye is an outgrowth of the brain which is visible. And the patterns of the blood vessels, their caliber, the way they cross and exudates give us quite a lot of clues about systemic conditions that you have. Another model, when in my previous incarnation, also in the Ministry of Environment, we are using models, AI models, because we are worried about floods, droughts, and extreme weather events, which we all know are getting worse because we are behind time in reaching the SDG goals. Another example, even for fish farming, because you know we don't have enough land, again, optimizing the fish farms for security, for biosafety, and for improving yield. So the point I'm trying to make is that we're just doing this, and if need be, doing it within sandboxes, because the only way to get on this bandwagon is to do, and to learn from doing, and to learn from those mistakes, fail quickly, and improve it. Now, the second point is that it's not enough to just get on the bandwagon and do it, but you do need to make sure that safety, privacy, and public acceptability is part of it. In fact, for governments which want to be early adopters, it's critical to have the right safeguards and guidelines in place for the responsible use of AI, and demonstrably so that people can judge that you're not just experimenting with their data and taking liberties with the data, but you're doing it in order to improve the quality of services provided to the people. So one approach in which we wanted to be transparent and take a risk-based approach is that in 2019, Singapore released our own model AI governance framework, which provides detailed and readily verifiable implementation guidelines to private sector organizations and to assure people that key ethical and governance issues are taken into consideration when rolling out these solutions. And last year, we went further to launch an international pilot of what we call AI Verify. This is an AI governance testing framework, a software toolkit to help organizations and governments objectively demonstrate that their systems are behaving responsibly, are based on sensible, accurate data, and to do these tests in a standardized form. The second is that in order to build trust and confidence, we need to ensure that you have wide buy-in, and that means, in particular, diverse inputs. And to know that the diversity will pose challenges, but you do need to take into account that diversity in each of our societies in order to arrive at a common approach based on trust and transparency to the AI frame development. And again, I want to emphasize that it is critical that this not be a purely government venture, but you do need to get the private sector involved. You do need to get civil society and other stakeholders who have real skin in the game as you generate the appropriate regulatory frameworks. This year, we launched the AI Verify Foundation. And this is really our attempt to put this principle into practice, to develop better frameworks, standards, and share best practices. And our current membership stands at more than 60 organizations, including our friends from IBM and, of course, Google or Alphabet, and Microsoft. The point is, this is a public-private civic partnership. And I think that kind of multi-stakeholder engagement and approach is essential. Third, I just want to end by saying that AI is transformative. It's got great opportunities, but it also has great risks. But these opportunities and risks are issues without a passport, meaning it quickly disseminates and escapes globally. But the point is, the impact, both in terms of opportunities and risk, actually have asymmetrical effects on different countries and different societies. And the question is, how ready are we when we face this tsunami of impacts, both positive and negative? And we believe that we need regional and we need multilateral global approaches. And at some point, you can't avoid the question of governance. I think we're past the old paradigm when big tech will say, don't worry, trust us. I think that's not enough. I think you now need regulations. The political dialogue and conversations, both domestically and internationally, will have to occur. And within ASEAN, which is the Association for Southeast Asian Nations, Singapore is working with our neighbors to develop an ASEAN guide on AI governance and ethics in order to establish common principles for trustworthy AI and to suggest best practices in which we can all learn by doing and sharing. So let me just conclude that this is an exciting field. Watch this space. But we do need to expand our minds and understand that just as AI has transformed the scene, the old ways of regulating, cooperating, and legislating will not suffice. And we do need to break new ground. Thank you all very much for your attention.
Please welcome the Secretary of State for Digitization and Artificial Intelligence of Spain, Carmen Artigas.
Good afternoon, everyone, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests. Thank you very much for inviting me to open this important event and contributing to the debate on how AI can help us achieve SDGs. We all know already that AI has become a reality on our everyday life, and we cannot ignore but promote the benefits it can bring to our society, although we need to ensure we mitigate its risks. That is why Spain has been working the last 3 years on a digital transformation that is human-centered and rights-oriented, so that individuals are empowered on this digital reality. Already in 2020, we launched the Charter of Digital Rights that inspired the European Declaration on Rights and Benefits of the Digital Age. And we also sent a declaration at the Ibero-American level, but also had a lot of consensus during our OECD meeting in Canary Islands. So we are all aware that AI is permeating many aspects of our lives, and therefore it can be linked and should be linked to SDGs. Because we must be very honest, natural intelligence alone has not allowed us to progress as much as we thought on the SDGs. So let's hope that artificial intelligence is also helping us to accelerate the goals we ourselves set. AI can have an impact on education, SDG 4, on economic growth, SDG 8, on the way we obtain green energy, SDG 7, on industry and innovation, SDG 9, and how to make cities more sustainable, SDG 11, and of course, how to pursue peace and fairer institutions, SDG 16, at a global level. For example, AI-powered predictive models can help us better understand and mitigate impacts of climate change, enabling more effective disaster preparedness and response. In healthcare, AI can assist in early disease detection and drug discovery, potentially saving countless lives. Also, AI-driven translation and speech recognition technologies can bridge language barriers, as we're doing in Spain, the flagship projects AI in Spanish language, aiming for a 600 million population, and also for our co-official small languages like Catalan, Basque, or Galician. In the realm of conservation and environmental protection, AI can aid in monitoring and preserve our planet's ecosystems. Drones equipped with AI can track illegal poaching activities, protect endangered species, and monitor deforestation, allowing us to take swift action to protect our environment. In Spain, we are aware of the transformative nature of this technology. And this is why we published our national strategy on AI with 6 pillars of initiative that go for excellent centers on R&D to the deployment of technology in the existing value chain for small and medium businesses, because we don't want to leave anyone behind. One of the key initiatives of strategy are missions for AI. These 5 R&D projects that amount 50 million euros are focused on sustainable energy, health research, age-related diseases, agro-food, and personalized medicine. Equally important is to meet the SDGs on the sustainable side. And we should not only use AI to enable the green transition, but we should start measuring the sustainable impact of technology itself. And this is why we have launched a national plan for green algorithms. We firmly believe that large language models are not sustainable in terms of energy consumptions, it's not blockchain, for example, and we need to start developing AI that is green by design. In that, we are devoting around 300 million euros to R&D in this matter. However, while the potential for AI for good is vast, it is not without challenges and ethical considerations. Ensuring the responsible development and deployment of AI is of paramount importance. This includes addressing issues such as biases in AI algorithms, protecting data privacy, AI safety, ensuring transparency, and AI decision-making processes. And this is the way that the European Union is working on, ensuring that fundamental rights of individuals are protected when using high-risk systems that are using AI. So as Spain is holding the presidency of the Council of the European Union, we are leading the negotiations with the European Parliament to ensure that the AI Act, the first AI regulation in the world, is going to be adopted during our presidency before the end of this year. This is an important milestone, as it is going to be, as I mentioned, the first regulation on AI. We welcome all the efforts that are being made by the industry, voluntary requirements, code of conduct, but we firmly believe that this is not enough. I think that it's not only by voluntary commitments that we ensure the rights that we want to preserve in the digital world. And through the implementation of regulation, we have also already created the first national agency for AI supervision, the National Spanish Agency for AI Supervision, that will be also tasked to talk with the industry and develop sandboxes to boost responsible innovation of AI, and we have already launched the first one. Last but not least, individual efforts by the different regions of the world will not be enough to make AI work for good. We need an international governance. We need an international AI governance framework, and I think here at UN we are in the right place to do that. For this, I think we need to join forces and find a mandate for the creation of a global body for AI governance, including its supervision. Because transformative technologies are very important, are very necessary, but digital transformation and technology evolution only makes sense if it's in favor of human progress and welfare. Thank you very much.
Please welcome the Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth, and Development Affairs of the United Kingdom, James Cleverly.
Thank you. The last few centuries have seen enormous technological changes and innovations in a range of areas. And over that same period of time, we have seen transformation in human development, in life expectancy, in crop yields, in all kinds of other positive areas. And be in no doubt, in this circumstance, correlation is an indicator of causation. Because human ingenuity has given us machines, and it's given us systems which billions of people are now able to use and use for the benefit of themselves and billions of others. The world does not stand still, and therefore the onus is on us to make sure that we continue to move at the same pace. We've already discussed examples of where AI will fundamentally change, fundamentally alter, I think, almost every aspect of our lives. And so, by harnessing its potential, we give ourselves the chance to ensure that it acts for the good of all of us. I am at heart an optimist. I think any of us in politics or public policy needs to have a big dose of optimism just to make it through the working day. And so I am convinced that we have a good opportunity to meet and possibly even exceed the Sustainable Development Goals and harness the potential of every human life if we are able to properly utilize the technologies currently and soon to be at our fingertips, because we are on the cusp of something radically new. And I think it can sometimes be difficult to predict the impact of technological change. At the beginning of the steam age in my country, I think few people could believe that technology designed to pump water out of mines could actually fuel a huge array of technological innovations. And yet it did, as did computer technology, communications technology, and I have no doubt that AI will do likewise. So, hard to imagine that something which superficially provides an opportunity to crunch through really huge data sets could unlock all kinds of, as yet, unforeseen and unpredicted opportunities. But there's some stuff that we are already seeing AI is doing, and those things are still amazing, even though not yet at the upper end of the potential of the technology. For example, helping visually impaired students in Nigeria read printed text and navigate their environments independently, or giving smallholder farmers across Africa credit profiles that they need to access vital finance. And these are just a couple of examples, but they are examples that give me hope. Hope that technology and humans working together can still act in tandem, mutually reinforcing for our greater good. But there is work to do if we're going to turn this hope into reality. We must use AI tools for development as well as the other areas to which they might be applied. Now, in the UK, we're not newcomers. We've been funding the use of AI for development for the best part of a decade. And I am confident that AI will feature even more prominently in the development programs that we fund from the UK in the years ahead. And the UK will join the UN Complex Risk Analytics Fund, whose work with AI targets critical support to where it can have the most positive impact. But we must also increase digital skills and infrastructure for everybody. 2.7 billion people worldwide remain offline. And of course, AI, more so than other technologies so far, requires the most up-to-date technical equipment to be fully, effectively utilized. So I'm very pleased, I'm delighted to announce that, working with Canada and other partners, and indeed tech firms, the UK is launching a new program to boost AI capability globally. We will give those in developing countries the building blocks, more powerful computers, more complete data sets, more cutting-edge skills, those building blocks that they need to produce the AI models and regulations that work for them. And I encourage others, those of you here today and beyond, to join the UK and our existing partners in this effort to spread opportunity for all. It is vitally important that we do not allow a situation to be created where those of us who are already blessed with advantages are the only ones able to utilize the advantages of AI. We need to ensure that AI pulls people together rather than cutting them out. We cannot allow an amplification of the digital divide that sadly we already see. All technologies and all technological change involves pioneers, sometimes individuals, sometimes businesses, occasionally governments, never governments. But we are already seeing evidence of AI training and algorithms displaying biases. And without action, AI could push us away from the SDG goals rather than helping us get towards them. And so, those pioneers, those individuals, those businesses, and yes, indeed, our governments, need to work to ensure that where we are training and developing AI models, where we are regulating their use, and crucially, when we are agreeing international standards, rules, and norms, we must be inclusive. We must ensure that everybody has a say. And that is why, in November of this year, the UK, Prime Minister Sunak, my Prime Minister, will host a historic AI safety summit at the famous Bletchley Park. For the first time, governments and businesses and experts will come together to address the wielding of this seminal technology and how to do so safely. And that's why we wanted to work with everybody today that co-convened this meeting, and we are glad we are able to, because we need to build a broad conversation, and a conversation which involves everyone across the world. Thank you.
Please welcome the Secretary of State of the United States, Antony Blinken.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It is wonderful to be back here at the New York Public Library. And I have to say at the outset that I very much share my good friend and colleague James Cleverly's sense of optimism. It is an occupational hazard. In fact, I think we're both reminded almost daily about what the late John McCain used to say. It is always darkest before it goes completely black. But here at this library, in fact, you consistently, for so many years, so many decades, are actually bringing light to the greatest challenges of our time, and light through knowledge onto what we need to carry our societies forward. It's a living demonstration here at the library of how information and ideas, when freely accessed and exchanged, can actually empower people and empower communities. And that's exactly what we're focused on today. How can we use artificial intelligence, a technology that is revolutionizing the production of knowledge, to actually improve lives, to make the world a little bit safer, a little bit healthier, a little bit more prosperous, to help eliminate poverty and hunger, to promote health and access to quality education, to advance gender equity, to save our planet. So let me start by thanking our colleagues from Japan, from Kenya, from Morocco, from Singapore, from Spain, and from the UK for bringing this event together with us. To our Moroccan friends, especially in this moment, we send our deepest condolences for the loss of life and destruction caused by the recent earthquake. I'm grateful also to the many partners we have here from civil society and the private sector. If we're going to succeed in directing AI toward achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, we need the full and robust participation of technologists who are developing these systems, of governments and organizations that are, as you've heard James discuss, shaping their norms, and the citizens, the communities that are affected by their growing applications. So today, as everyone in this room knows, we are in an entirely new era of AI. Powerful generative systems like GPT-4 orders of magnitude more capable than their predecessors, are vastly increasing the capacity of machines not just to process information, but to create original content, to perform complicated tasks, to solve the most vexing problems. We all know as well that this new era brings potential harms and hazards, including AI systems producing false information, reinforcing bias and discrimination, deepening inequities, or being misused for repressive, destabilizing, dangerous purposes. In coming days, months, and years, it will not be our technical capabilities that define our future, but how we choose to use them. Our responsibility is, of course, to minimize the risks while maximizing the potential for AI to tackle some of the world's biggest challenges. And that has to include achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, the goals that we, as an international community that's come together as it does every year this week, goals that we set for ourselves in 2015 to bring about a better future for all our people, and, as we said, a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people on the planet now and into the future. But here's the reality. We are falling short. We're halfway to 2030, the deadline that we gave ourselves for hitting these targets, and yet we are on track to achieve just 12% of the SDGs. 12%. Our progress seems to have plateaued on half the goals that we set. On nearly a third, we're actually moving backward. We're regressing. That should simply be unacceptable. And it is. And that's why we have to use every tool at our disposal, including artificial intelligence, to get the SDGs back on track. Now, experts estimate that AI could advance progress on nearly 80% of the SDGs and their targets. Already, we've got AI systems being deployed to forecast extreme weather events and the impacts that they have, to improve agricultural productivity, to fight global hunger, to predict, to prepare for, and respond to outbreaks of disease and new viruses, to build the clean energy infrastructure for a healthier future. So, we'll hear directly from colleagues about their own efforts, some of which are on display in the exhibits around this room, and I really commend them to you. I got a brief preview, and it's really worth taking a look. The United States is committed to supporting and accelerating efforts like these, to fostering an environment where affirmative AI innovation can continue to flourish. That's why we're helping to lead the way forward on AI governance. Just over the past year, we built a blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights to guide how automated systems are actually used as well as designed. We published an AI risk management framework to improve AI user protections. We issued a set of voluntary commitments developed with the top AI companies, including those with us today, to increase safety, to increase security, to increase trust for advanced AI systems. More leading companies are getting on board. 7 additional companies joined this framework, these voluntary commitments, just this past week. Now, the work that we're undertaking is to work with partners to translate these commitments into an international framework to govern AI, including through the Japan-led Hiroshima process in the G7, the UK's AI Safety Summit in November, and India's leadership as chair of the Global Partnership for AI. We also know this: if these norms are going to be effective, we have to bring a wide range of voices and views to the table, bring them into the discussion, including developing countries. And we're committed to doing just that. As we work to manage risks, we can and we must also maximize the use of AI for the greater good. In the voluntary commitments, companies pledge to create AI systems focused on addressing society's greatest challenges. We'll work with companies to help them make good on that promise as we strengthen the partnership between developers and governments more broadly on AI. At the same time, we can deepen our cooperation across governments to foster and also incentivize more affirmative uses for artificial intelligence. Right here at the UN, we've helped launch the AI for Climate Action and are strong supporters of the International Telecommunications Union's AI for Good initiative. You've got so many parts of the United Nations system that can bring important perspectives to bear on this effort. We'll hear later today from leaders of the International Telecommunications Union, the World Health Organization, the United Nations Population Fund, the UN Secretary General's Tech Envoy. And I want to thank each of them for being with us today, but also for the work that you're doing every day to advance an affirmative AI future. Today, I'm also pleased to announce a new $15 million commitment by the United States to helping more governments leverage the power of AI to drive global good, focused specifically on Sustainable Development Goals. Gatherings like this one, where we bring together and learn from an incredible array of ideas, expertise, backgrounds, it's a critical step to getting this moment right. As President Biden likes to say, we are in so many ways at an inflection point where the decisions that we make today will shape the world not just for years to come, but for decades to come. And AI is probably the best, most compelling example of that. The decisions that all of us make collectively today about how we shape the future of AI, that is going to define our world for decades. This is an immense responsibility, and it's a responsibility that we have to take together as governments, the private sector, civil society, individual citizens, and communities. If we don't get it right, I think we have a pretty good idea of what some of the risks are. But if we do get it right, and we can, and we will, and we must, the opportunities are almost endless. Thanks very much.
Please welcome the Director General for